Today it's going to be a little bit different. I used to do a whole lot of music reactions. There was a point in time back in 2021 where pretty much all of the content that I was putting out there was music reactions. I would call them Music Mondays. Now, I'm not getting back into that today, but I do want to provide some type of commentary on a song that was just recently released, because a lot of those music reactions that I did back in 2021 covered this band. I would get a lot of suggestions from subscribers, people that were watching my videos, to dive into Ronnie Radke and Falling in Reverse a little bit more. And I did. And I was pleasantly surprised with what my ears were listening to. I think I had said in some of those older videos that based on the public perception of Ronnie Radke and all the negative aspects about, things that he had done. He went to jail, he served his time. There was this perception that I had of him that was very distorted. And, maybe that perception was true at a point in time in his life when he wasn't making the best decisions. But ever since I've turned my gaze back onto Ronnie back in 2021, started listening to Falling in Reverse actually in depth, I would say that Ronnie has completely shifted who he is. And yes, I did not have a firm understanding of who he was back in the day. But to my knowledge, to my understanding, it just seems like he's a lot more composed. He continuously finds ways to evolve, not only personally, but also in his music. And I wanted to talk about the newest song that he released, Falling in Reverse, released, which is called Watch the World Burn. Now, the reason that I'm prompted to speak about it is because there are people out there that fucking piss me off. Like, sure, you guys know who this guy is. He's one of the biggest music reactioners out there. His name is Anthony Fantano. I saw his video where he was listening to this song. He was doing like a live stream, and he was basically just laughing the entire time at this, and then saying there at the end that he was going to put this song on his top 10 worst songs list of 2023. And then, I just started like reading the comments on the video, and you got all these people that are like bashing Ronnie. And, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I'm not saying anything about that. Anthony Fantano and all those people, if that's what you want to do, you can totally hate on this song and Ronnie Radke. But I think it's quite unfair. And again, speaking for myself, like I didn't have the best view of Ronnie as a person. But once I started going through the music that he was making, being a part of Falling in Reverse after he got away from Escape the Fate and after he served time in prison, came out of it, formulated this band, and then especially like over the last however many years, probably since 2017, 2018, it just seems like every single song that he puts out, Falling in Reverse puts out, it just gets that much better and better and better and better and better and more refined. He's refining his craft. He's doing different things. People on the video were hating on his rapping, comparing it to Eminem. Sometimes Eminem can have some cringy raps, the accelerated flow. But, I guess some people don't like that because the flow, like just because you can rap fast doesn't mean you're actually saying anything that is impressive. A lot of that beef with Eminem is that he like just puts all these, weird sounding words together, but somehow it works. And yeah, I get that to an extent, but I think I have to err on the side of I'm going to applaud any artist that is going to take a risk. If that's not really their comfort zone, if that's not something that they got known for and they decide to make music in that genre, I think we should all applaud them. you can't say Ronnie is the best rapper, but he's been rapping in some of the songs now for a while. So he's at least tried to develop that technique. And I don't know why people are hating it so much. I actually think it's funny, and I also think that it's pleasant to the ear. And I figured out right away that it seemed like, because people are like, oh, he's just ripping off Drake. It sounds like there's a song by Drake called Enemies, and Ronnie's basically, ripping off that flow and pretty much copying what he's saying. And I'm like, well, maybe that's the point. Maybe that's why he's doing it, to shed a light on how fucking annoying and repetitive that can get. And I love Drake. Drake has accomplished a lot as a musician, but there's been points raised with Drake over the years that he has a ghostwriter, doesn't write his own raps. And yeah, I think in rap, a lot of times, just with, just like any other genre that's out there in music, is that, things can get quite repetitive. And that's what I'm trying to say with Ronnie, is like, this doesn't sound repetitive. This is unique. It's creative. He spans across different genres. So you start out with the rapping and kind of maybe poking fun at Drake and the hip hop rap industry. And then, then he starts speeding it up, doing a little bit more of that Eminem, Tech Nine flow. And then there's like a transition where, I've seen some other guys that were reacting to the song. It sounds like Falling in Reverse goes full blown Queen. And then after that, you finally build into the breakdown, more of that metal feel. And to me personally, again, over the span of the entire song, like, I think it's thoroughly enjoyable. I don't see other bands, I don't see other artists that are trying to do stuff like that, where they're trying to push the envelope and do something that is new, that's authentic, that, again, maybe out of the artist's comfort zone. But I think like that's what makes art and creativity so awe-inspiring, is like, you're not really being creative if you're doing the same thing that has gotten you known before in the past. Like, if you made a hit that like blew up, but then you followed that same blueprint to try and make another hit, yeah, maybe you're going to appeal to the population of people that basically just stick to radio hits, or like those generic artists that's all they do, is they stick to the formula. And I'm not saying that there's not a time and place for that. You can definitely do that as an artist. I'm just saying, for me personally, with all the different types of music that I like to listen to, my musical palette is all over the place. I really appreciate the artists and the bands and the musicians that try different things, that try to do something new. And although, it may not be appealing to everybody, it's at least them taking an attempt to create something that they've never created before. And like, why, I've always said this, in arguments with people, but why would you want to take one of your favorite artists, for example, whoever that may be, and let's just say like Tyler, the Creator. This is a really good example, because he made Flower Boy, and that was arguably his most vulnerable piece of work. It's an artistic masterpiece. Like, there's not many people that are going to disagree with that. And so how does he follow that up? A lot of people will be like, well, fuck, man, I hope he makes something that is like the caliber of Flower Boy, because I love that album. But then he comes out and he creates an album like IGOR, which was like earth-shattering, because it wasn't, you can see that Tyler was kind of toying with the idea of those sounds on Flower Boy, but it just hadn't fully evolved and meshed. And then he comes out with a project like IGOR, and so people will be like, well, yeah, like, I want another Flower Boy. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, Flower Boy exists in time and space for a reason, and you can always go back there to appreciate that sound and what he was trying to capture with that project. But IGOR is equally as satisfying in a different way, because it pushes the envelope of what he's done before. And so IGOR is an amazing project, just as Flower Boy is, but they're separate, and you wouldn't want them to sound the same. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, is, I don't know. I think people also sometimes they have a barrier in their head. So for this song, "Watch the World Burn" by Falling in Reverse, it has different elements. Like I said, it has different genres. There's different things that they're testing out, but it seamlessly, for some reason, fits together very well. But it is different. It is a different listen. It's creative, it's expansive, it's all over the place. And I think a lot of times this is just kind of human nature, but why it's like in the same way that we resist change and um, we don't want to do things that are outside of our comfort zone. When we come across something that we don't understand, like maybe new music, or we already have this idea in our head that we hate this person, all the hate that gets received towards Ronnie Radke, you kind of shut yourself off. Or then when you hear that new sound, it takes a lot for a person, even an open-minded individual, to really pry open their brain and be like, let me try and take in this information and see where it goes. And so I think a lot of people, when they're listening to, new music or whatever, that they don't really know how to interpret it. That's what their brain kind of does, is it just closes itself up, and they don't allow for it to really seep in and let the magic take place. It's different for me because, again, I'm very intrigued by Falling in Reverse and Ronnie Radke, that I was just excited to listen to it because you really don't know what to expect. Their last few singles, I mean, spanning back to, you got Popular Monster, and then I don't know what follows up after that, but you got Zombified, and you got Voices in My Head. And like I said, Ronnie has been testing out rapping for a while now. I think he was doing that back in 2018. So he's continued to evolve that aspect of his game. I know that he produced at least a little bit of this song, now in Watch the World Burn. It's got two of my favorite worlds of music. It has rap. And then it also has, metal. It has a fucking breakdown, dude. And I don't know. I love that. I love when music can merge two different sounds, two, three, four different sounds together to make its own unique song, its own unique piece. And to me, I think that's the best type of music. And those are usually the people that are the trendsetters in their profession. Being a creative is the ones that always went down in history were the ones that took something of old and then their spin on it, the new thing, and they merged those worlds together to create, an amazing product for these consumers. And so, I don't know, I felt compelled to talk about it. I think Ronnie is such an interesting figure in the music world, and I don't understand why people bring so much hate upon him. I really feel like he's changed his life a shit ton for the better. He's not perfect. None of us are perfect. And that's what's really annoying and upsetting about the culture and the day and age that we live in via cancel culture, which he's talked about on, I think it was Zombified. And people just, we have professional critics that are out there. So all these people that are keyboard warriors that get on their computer and they criticize what everyone else is doing, and yet they're not even in the game. They're not even playing the game. They're on the sidelines. They're probably dissatisfied with their own life that they feel the need to criticize these people. And, Ronnie Radke, for better or for worse, he's a very polarizing figure. It's either that, like, you like him or you hate him. And either way, dude, like, he's the thing about him that people have to acknowledge, even if you don't like him. I've heard a lot of people say this here recently because I've been watching all these reaction videos of the song. Whether you like him or you hate him, he's relevant. He's doing things that are relevant. He's creating a conversation for hip hop and rap, and then also his genre that he's always stuck to, metal, pop punk, stuff like that. I don't even know all the genres. I'm just spitting them out there because these are the ones that I've heard. But I heard another guy talk about this, and I'm gonna have to figure out his name or figure out what his channel is. Ronnie he's pulling in viewership every time that Falling in Reverse, or whatever Ronnie does, whatever Falling in Reverse does, you got the world watching, you got eyes on it. And like, I don't know, I'm assuming if you guys watch this video, you've probably seen the music video for Watch the World Burn, and it's all over the place. It's fucking crazy. It's cinematic. It's got CGI. It's their videos never fail. It's always like telling a story. Like I said, seamless transitions in the video, and it's a really amazing compliment to the song that they put out. Because the song is so chaotic, so is the music video. So you kind of needed both of those elements to tie it together. You needed that visual aspect for what you were hearing. I really respect what Ronnie is doing. He's one of the most interesting cats out there in the music space. I love his music. I love Falling in Reverse. I think they're starting to become one of my favorite bands. Again, just so creative. Just everything they're doing is different, in a world full of mediocrity where people just blend in with the crowd because that's the easiest thing to do. Like, you strip this away from just music, but also, like in society, just how people operate. I'm not one of those people. And this, I've said this, many times to like friends, to clients, to coworkers, like whoever I'm talking to at that current moment in time, is like, I've always kind of identified myself as like an outsider, or like somebody that just looks at life differently than most people. And I think that's why it's been really hard for me to formulate relationships that were lasting, whether that be with a partner or like friends. Or there's just often times where I'll be talking about shit, that I'm intrigued by, or what I'm interested by, or like personal excellence, like being a better person, deep philosophy and understanding for life, trying to gather that insight. And like, I'll talk to people about this stuff and they don't know how to respond. They look fucking dumbfounded, and it's left me feeling void quite often. And then also just feeling misunderstood by people. And so I think maybe, I resonate with this song a lot, is because I think that's something that Ronnie has probably gone through as well. Although he's got, so much support from his fan base, and there are people that have been on this journey following him for much longer than I have, and will probably never leave his side despite what he's going to do. So I'm sure he loves that admiration and the people that have stuck with him. But I'm assuming he's probably felt the exact same way. Like, there's a lot of people that just don't understand Ronnie, and then, they try and tear him down. And now, so like, if you guys, again, I'm assuming you've probably watched the music video, but if you haven't, go in there and watch it. It's like, from the lyrics and then also the visuals that you are getting, Ronnie has been poked and prodded for so long by media, by people, by cancel culture, people trying to attack him, tarnish his reputation. And this is, I feel like in this song and this video, it's basically him saying, okay, like, you want a fucking villain? You want me to turn into a beast? You want me to go fucking ham? You want me to light the world on fucking fire? Then that's what I'm gonna do, because that's the picture that you're painting me to be. So you know what? Even though that's not what I am basically just going to live up to what you're saying, and I'm just going to do that because that's what you want from me. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I get. And, it's kind of, not to make this political or go on some like deep societal rant, but it really is synonymous with like Donald Trump, because a lot of people, again, he's like that love or hated guy where, there was just all this media slander about him that just quite honestly was not true. And so a lot of these people have this false distortion in their heads of who Donald Trump is. And whether you like him or you hate him, number one, you talked about him, so he garnered, again, that interest and those eyeballs. And number two, and this is just my own personal opinion, for what he did for our country, he was a businessman. So he was an outsider. He was not like a regular politician. And so when he got into office, that surprised a lot of people. But then also those career establishment politicians, they wanted to tear him down. They saw that he was a threat. He didn't do it. He didn't do the backdoor deals and handshakes like they've been doing their entire lives. That corruption that has polluted our political system here in America and kept those guys around for a long time, because they profit off of the demise of the humans. And so relating this to Ronnie, because he talks about in the song as well, you know, exposing all the shit that goes on in the music industry, and you gotta be in the industry to know what's going on. He's saying, you know, I could make one post and that would crumble whoever the person is, it would crumble their entire career if the world knew that they did these certain things. And it's the same thing with the politicians. You know, there's a lot of people that are blind to that. But, you know, going back to my original point, is like synonymous with Donald Trump. That's exactly what happened. And I think I'm not like a Trump dick rider, but I think a lot of people misunderstood that guy. I understand that he can rub people the wrong way. But if you're talking about being the president of the United States, which is arguably one of the toughest jobs in the world, I want to put somebody in there that's actually going to get results and that is actually going to get things done. I don't need a person that's going to go in there and be politically correct and appease people by like the way that he talks. Like, no, I want somebody that's going to get the job done. And I feel like currently the person that we have in there right now is not doing that. Anyways, this is going on a completely different, separate term, but I think it's also important to note that is like most of these people, again, that we look back at in society, whether it be music, artists, presidents, you know, whoever, whatever the domain is, a lot of those people that receive heavy criticism are just misrepresented, are not fully understood by the vast majority. And yet the people that follow them, that stand for their cause, are loyal to the fucking bitter end. So it's just an interesting note. It's something to think about. It's something to ponder. I wanted to make the video because, yeah, I was kind of pissed off at some of these reactions that I've seen. I don't know why I feel this like allegiance to Ronnie to like go out there and defend him, but like I said earlier, I think everything that he's doing is massively impressive, and I think he's making a big mark on the world and you know, the world that we're experiencing right now. And I hope more people just at least give him a chance and go listen to his music. I think it's impressive. I think it's something that is not being done by many artists, and you got to be willing to go out there and look like a fool, take a risk, and you know, potentially fall on your face. And again, there's just all these people that are sitting on the sidelines that are fucking professional critics, and they haven't made music, or they haven't done anything with their lives, but yet they feel the need, they feel the necessity to criticize these people that are actually doing something in the world, you know, and making a living. So anyways, that's my rant. Hopefully it made sense. It's kind of all over the place, but I love music, man. And I love the implications that music has on society and, you know, these type of conversations that we can have with one another. And to be honest, those are the things that we can't lose, is we need to be able to have conversations with people, even if we disagree. And it's not happening enough in society right now. Anyways, I'm going to cut this one off. As always, if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe, please like the video, please tell a friend. If you got something out of it, just share the message. That is how the channel grows. I know that I've been pretty back and forth in terms of putting out content, not trying to make excuses. I think I say this like every single time, so I'll just repeat the message. Sometimes life just gets away from you. This is not my full-time gig. I would love to make this thing my full-time gig, but until that actually happens, I do have a full-time job that, you know, takes up a lot of my energy Monday through Friday. And so on the weekends, sometimes I just kind of pass these by because I'm trying to recover and, you know, let my brain rest. So yeah, like I said, if you guys are new here, just, and you watch this video and you got something out of it, just please share it. That's all that I ask. That's the best way to grow the channel, to promote the message, to bring on new viewers. So anyways, thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next video, the next podcast. Love you guys. Bye-bye.